Well, g'day team, thanks for joining us. And today you're only with me, just like you were with Kat the other day. And you've had a bit of a sneak preview of the latest addition to our family, right behind me. This is a 2024 Nissan Navara STX. And we're very excited by this acquisition. We're very much looking forward to doing a lot more forward driving, camping, and all that sort of good fun stuff. So it's going to be fantastic. So yeah, right now, just arrived at the Yankee Hat Trail. It's in Namadgi National Park. Namadgi National Park is one of the largest national parks in this part of the country. It encompasses about 160,000 square hectares, or roughly that. Roughly half the size of the Australian Capital Territory. So we're going to go for a bit of a walk around here. I'm going to show you some points of interest, and then we'll jump back in the car and have a bit more look around at some other interesting points. Some people who are into wildlife documentaries and that might recognise this area. There's a documentary, I can't remember who made it. You'll probably find it on Netflix or something. And it's called Kangaroo Valley. Now, as you saw by the drive coming in, there is a lot of kangaroos here. So, got to be very careful when you're driving in. But if you happen to find it, it's a nature documentary called Kangaroo Valley. It's about the life of a kangaroo called Nala, and it's very good, and it's all filmed here. Alright, let's get ourselves ready and go for a walk. This is all new and gratefully accepted, that's for sure. Look, we have another big fella. So Bruce has come back to say g'day again. He'll probably challenge me. We'll see how we go. G'day mate, top of the morning to you. Very big fella. Now, I'm no paleontologist or dinosaur expert, but holy cow, that's a big track. Yeah, obviously it's a roo. Just put his feet together there. But to the untrained eye, you'd be going, whoa, what's going on around here? So that foothill there, right in front of us, or that hill, it's called Yankee Hat. I can't see the comparison, but anyway, that's what they called it. And right at the foothill there, probably about 1.5 kilometres away, is our destination. I would say it's a beautiful day for a walk, but it's not. The wind is getting a bit blowy. but still a very nice place to go walking. It's not a very far trail. I think from the car park to the site that we're going to, it's 3 kilometres. So an easy to manage walk. And after we're done here, I'll show you a couple other things and enjoy a bit of four-wheel driving. I've come one layer, even though you're not walking very far. Your body heat sure does remind you that, yeah, you can generate heat. Not far to go. There we have it. That's the rock art site here on at Yankee Hat. I'm sure there is a indigenous word for this space. I don't know what it is. It doesn't appear in any of the literature that I found. Hard to make out with the sunlight and everything, but there's depictions of what they believe to be dingoes. Turtles. I think there's a kangaroo amongst in there as well, and it's very faint, but you can possibly see human stick-like figures, and I think there's supposed to be an echidna. They believe to be an echidna in there as well. No one really knows what the story is being told here. Very difficult to make it out. It's very old. Apparently they did some carbon dating on the pigments that they use for paint, and they estimate it to be about 800 years old. Obviously it's probably been touched up a little bit over the years with not much change to the actual what's been displayed here, but 800 years old in the grand scheme of things, in the total length of Aboriginal occupation of this land, there's only a small drop of time. They estimate that, well, they found campsites and did some carbon dating of the sites that they found, and they estimate that those sites were somewhere in the region of 17 to 20,000 years ago. They estimate that the first peoples arrived on the Australian mainland, somewhere in the region of 60,000 years. For a culture of people, which actually it's a melting pot of a culture of peoples actually, to survive well over 60,000 years to today is remarkable. They have lived exactly how they have always lived since time began. In fact, when the Europeans arrived here, by our modern standards, they might be a bit primitive with their technology and whatnot, but to the Aboriginal people, they may as well have come from outer space, alien invasion from outer space, which literally, that's exactly what it was like. Despite it all, the diseases that were introduced, the genocide that happened, the warfare, the dispossession, the de-identification of their culture and their language and heritage, many Aboriginal nations today still survive and are very strong, and that in itself earns a ton of respect. This site is very special. It's the only known rock art site in the Australian Capital Territory, indeed here in Namadgi National Park. I'm sure there are other sites across the border in New South Wales. Don't really know exactly where they are. Given the climate down in this part of the world, it's very hard for rock art sites to survive for too long, simply because it's wet very often. Not many places that can sort of like escape rainfall. Whereas if you go to the northern end of the country, where it's much more drier, a lot more, rock art paint friendly environment, you'll see, if you ever have the fortune to travel up there, you'll see some absolutely remarkable sights. Incredible. This one by no means is not any less incredible, but yeah, I highly recommend, if you ever travel around Australia, go visit the rock art sites, especially up north around the Kimberley and Kakadu areas and in the Northern Territory, the Kimberleys in Western Australia. Yeah, seeing them up close and personal, it's a very, very touching experience. So yeah, here's a bit of local Indigenous heritage. The local mob is known as the Ngunnawal. This space has very cultural significance to the local mob, and of course surrounding clans as well. I think they estimate somewhere in the range of 280 different Aboriginal nations exist on the Australian continent, and many of them have their own culture, their own language, their own traditions. A lot of those nations didn't get along with each other as well, just like we do today. But we've got a lot to learn from these people, and it's very pleasing to see that a reversal is happening, where traditional names are coming back for significant places like mountains and rivers and locations. They were all given European names, but for the most part they've been discarded now, and their traditional names are coming back, and that's very important and very pleasing. Also from my area, called the Gumbanga, it's having a language revival. The language came very close to being extinct, but now it's almost like a second language up there. Incredibly pleasing and very proud to see it. All right, so yes, here's the Yankee Hat art site. We'll keep going on a little bit more, have some lunch, I'll show you some more interesting sights, and then we'll wrap this video up. Well, here we are back to our trusty steed. Now we've named our four-wheel drive Lindemann. Now the name Lindemann may or may not have something to do with a German rock band called Rammstein. Alright, let's get out of here. One very lucky fella. If it had been 10 seconds later, I would have collected him. What we have here, ladies and gentlemen, is an echidna. Big fella too. Come on, mate, off the road. There you go. Come on, off the road. It's alright, I'm not going to hurt you. So he's got himself in a defensive posture now. No, mate, you stay off the road. Right, let's go. Now, part of the mysteries around here is that of this particular gate here, it is absolutely covered in footwear. Now the mystery is why? Who put them here? So yeah, now one theory is that there is a well-known Yowie that lives out here somewhere. Now for those that don't know, Yowies are a mythical creature, basically. They're kind of related to the Yeti or Bigfoot. And Yowies in this part of the country have a particular taste towards Canberrans. So he catches them, eats them, and leaves their footwear here as a warning to others. That may or may not be true, but yeah, pretty cool. Alright, so we've driven right through Namadgi National Park. We're in New South Wales now. So this is our turnaround point. And we'll move on to the next place. If we keep following this road, we'll end up at a place called Adamitimi. And from there, not far away, is Kosciuszko National Park. But anyway, we won't go any further than here. We'll head back and we'll stop at a place I'd like to show you, and we'll have some lunch. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Brayshaw's hut. Now this hut was built by materials sourced from the land around here by a gentleman by the name of, well, Brayshaw. Early settler to this area. Europeans first arrived in this region around the 1820s, 1830s. So this is a prime example really of a early settler's hut, or early European settler's hut. Still preserved today by the High Country Hut Association or something like that, mainly for its historical value, and they're also good for, you know, overland hikers and whatnot, for use as shelter, emergency shelter. So yeah, this is a pretty good hut. There's another one up the track up here as well. This is called the Settlers Track. Goes for a few kilometres over in that direction, comes back around in a loop. There's another hut out that way as well, probably a bit bigger than this one. I think this one's earlier. And you'll find around the high country, there's a lot of huts. A lot of them have been built specifically for cross-country hikers and whatnot, and back in the day for cattle droving. Cattle was one of the big agricultural industry in the high country, and so they built these huts as shelter for the cattlemen, and they've remained over the years. or lovingly looked after by a dedicated group of volunteers. So let's have a look inside. It's probably going to be a bit dark, so I don't know how the quality of the footage is going to be, but we'll check it out. Nice, beautiful fireplace. Here we've got the room. So it's just a common shelter. This is very typical of what was built way back in the day. That'll be the visitor's book and the implement to clean. We've got some information pamphlets in there. Over in Europe, in particular Scotland, they call these kind of structures bossies. So this is the Australian version of a bossy. I said bossy. That's a bit of an inside joke between Kat and I. But yeah, very impressive. Like it a lot. Yep. There we go. Alright, we'll have some lunch here and then we'll look at heading for home. Alright, let's get back on the road shortly, hey? And here we are coming back in towards town. So thank you for joining me today, folks. I'm sorry that Kat couldn't make it. Unfortunately, work has demands. So today we had a bit of a look around Namadgi National Park. It showed you a couple of favourite spots I'd like to go to. That's the Yankee Hat rock art site, a very culturally significant place, very special. Then we went out and had a look at Brayshaw's hut and some mysterious goings on. So maybe that track we saw out at Yankee Hat track might have had something to do with it. Who knows? Who knows? But anyway, yeah, thanks again for joining us. Lindemann, he's a great joy to drive. We're very excited to have him in our family, and we're very much looking forward to doing adventures that we haven't been able to do previously. It's been about 7 or 8 years since I've had a four-wheel drive, so easing myself back into it. So going at little road trips, little day trips like today helps. We do have a nice big trip coming up soon. Looking forward to that, back down to the coast, and we also have a camping trip lined up as well in the next over the next couple of weeks. It's going to be pretty exciting times, and we look forward to taking you with us. Thank you for joining us. Be safe out there, and hooroo.